Everybody come and catch the show. You want dad jokes, they got plenty of those. So relax and listen on as Dev and Kyle start the apocalypse.
Yeah. Were you clicking during our theme song?
I was getting my notes ready.
I could hear. All right. I apologize for the unprofessionalism of Kyle clicking, and I'm pretty sure I sipped some of my chocolate milk pretty loud, and that got picked up too.
You know, I just edit out all the sounds that we make on the multi-track. So
you don't.
I just clear it all out.
Don't.
No, I do.
Leave it for the people so they can hear.
Leaving the clicking.
Yeah.
No, I'm not leaving the clicking. That's not happening.
Sip, sip.
Oh, by the way, this is Dev and Kyle Start the Apocalypse.
It is.
Welcome.
Professional.
Absolute penultimate form of professional podcasting. He's Dev. I'm Kyle. It's just two dads making a podcast.
That's the joke.
That's the joke. Once upon a time, Dev and I met, and we thought, instead of just becoming actual friends, we would make a show to find out if we would become friends, because we are apparently defective in similar methods. So
yeah,
that's a show.
Yeah.
As always, if you can think of a worse reason to make a show, hit us up at devnkylesta@gmail.com. I feel weird. The reason I'm off my game today, Dev, is because I'm not drinking during this show, because it's a morning record that we have to have.
Yeah.
Because it's American Thanksgiving.
Because life.
We got to get this one in the can before we both go on different versions of holiday and retreats.
Yeah, and my holiday retreat, I don't know if it's gonna happen now. Like it is. I guess it is gonna happen now because we found out that we're playing basketball on Sunday. So yeah, we have a basketball jamboree. Our first game of the season is next Sunday.
Is this the team you're coaching?
Yeah, we have our first game on the Sunday following Thanksgiving.
First game. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fine. What makes a jamboree instead of just having a basketball game?
Fuck if I know. I guess it's like a tournament, but it's not a tournament. It's just a bunch of random teams playing. So
it's a tournament. It's not a tournament. It's just a bunch of teams playing until one of them doesn't lose and we declare a winner, but totally not a tournament.
But it's only one. You only get one game. Like it's not a weekend long thing. I don't think. I think that's
a season. That's not a tournament.
Yeah. Well, a jamboree isn't a tournament. A jamboree is it's more of an exhibition, like a bunch of random exhibitions on the same day in the same gym. It's almost like a rec league where you would show up on Saturday morning and there's games all that day.
Okay.
And it's all different teams, but it's not a tournament that day. But instead of all these teams being in a rec league, some of them are in the same league. I guess they all would be because they're all Catholic schools. So yeah, I guess it is kind of like a rec league day, but it's all being played same day at this one school in this one gym. Kicking off basketball.
Well, listen, I'm glad that the season's kicking off. That sounds wonderful. Are you excited for your chances of all playing basketball in the same direction?
Yeah, we've made leaps and bounds, believe it or not. I'm actually really proud of the progress we've made so far in practice. Awesome. Yeah, I don't know if I really helped that much, so much as the actual head coach of the team who's developed some of the drills. I did a drill with the team that I was told was a little too difficult for the kids, teaching them how to box out properly, put a forearm in a guy's chest, step in, like the forearm that you put in there, take that and step across and then put your butt in him.
You said these kids are like 8 and 9 years old?
9 and 10.
9 and 10. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, putting a forearm into a person is kind of it's a semi-advanced basketball skill. I was demonstrating that to the largest 8th grader on my son's junior high team. I took a moment out because his father has never seen a basketball in his life. He's Irish. They don't grow up with basketball. And so his son is built for boxing out. Let's put it that way. And so I took a couple minutes to like show him a couple of techniques, but
big boy.
Yeah, because his dad was like, yeah, thanks for that. I didn't even know you were allowed to bump into people. It's like, ooh, that's the whole game.
Basketball is a contact sport. Believe it or not, it is a contact sport. Sometimes they call little ticky-tack fouls, but it's contact. You're supposed to put a body, push around a little bit of grabbing, not too much.
It's a contact ballet. That's how it works.
It's a athletic contact ballet.
That's very good. It's certainly not American football. They didn't have to change the rules to keep people from dying.
Yeah.
They just had to change the rules to keep people from being Bill Lambier.
Yeah. You just got to change it from, okay, that's a little close to rugby that you're playing on hardwood instead of grass that has a little bit of give to it. You're going to end up breaking somebody's neck, especially since you guys are jumping, 2 feet in the air, 3 feet in the air. That's not a good way to do it.
That's definitely part of a good idea for changing some of the rules. The no grabbing a guy by the ankle after he just jumped 48 inches straight into the air. That's more than a meter, Europeans.
You can't hug him around the waist when he is crotch high in your face from a jump. It's not allowed.
I don't understand why you'd want to. But
Bill Lambier, Dennis Rodman, I can think of guys that did that.
That was classic 80s contact basketball. But we got off track. We've never done that before on the show. We got off track.
Never.
We promised the people American Thanksgiving talk last time.
We did.
Because I have a very specific opinion. So in my actual day job, again, for those of you where episode 12 is your first episode listening to us ever, welcome.
Hi.
This is the whole show. If this is your first episode you're ever hearing, this is the whole show. I talk to a lot of international people in my regular job, and I've been asking, and no one has suggested that I'm wrong with a holiday from their culture. And I think that I said this last episode, and I think it's true. I'll expand on it a little bit more. I think American Thanksgiving, first of all, is the only holiday, the one of the two, you said the Independence Day, but it's really one of the only holidays that we all do the holiday. Like Christmas is a lot of people, but it's not all of us. Easter is a lot of people, but not all of us. And then Hanukkah, of course, and Ramadan. These are all holidays that some percentage of Americans do. But we've got the Independence Day and we've got the American Thanksgiving. The rest of the holidays that are secular holidays that there's no celebration to them, right? You get the day off of work, but there's no traditional celebrations. Actually, I used to work for a sales guy, and he believed that 4th of July, he called it sales Christmas because of the way that it falls. Like if your company has sales quarters, and if you don't work in a sales job, I'm going to explain the whole thing in 2 seconds flat. You're judged on how much business you book in 90-day quarters. And lots of companies will use the calendar months for those 90-day quarters. And so then you're judged on how much you sell January, February, March, the first quarter, and then April, May, June for the second quarter. So there's always a rush at the end of every quarter to close out your sales quota, like get it up, hit your targets, hit your bonuses. Well, that puts actual Christmas at the end of quarter 4. So you'd be closing deals on New Year's Eve. And this guy was a crazy person. He doesn't have a life that I wanted to emulate. But the thing that he would do is he would take 2 full weeks every July to make up for the fact that he never was around on Christmas with his children. I don't know if that's a fair trade, but that was his particular choice. He would disappear because July was the start of quarter 3. And also, sort of depending on your sales methods, like summer just happens to be slow for business in general. So June 30th, he'd be closing deals until midnight, getting the contracts to come in. And then July 1st, you couldn't find him. He was gone. And don't ask for him until July 15th. And it was the only 2 weeks a year where he was unavailable instead of just being 24/7 by 300. Well, I was going to say 365. He was 24/7 by 351.
I mean, that's a company man, not the kind of lifestyle I would want to live.
Agreed.
Especially, I'm big on Christmas. It might be because my birthday is 2 weeks before it, but December is my month, and I want that time off as much as possible. Plus, it's usually cold, and I don't like going out and doing anything when it's cold. I want to stay at home and just chill.
Have I got the state for you?
Yeah. So I don't like it too hot though either. So fuck a bunch of that. I'm good.
Hawaii, then, I guess.
Too expensive. And too expensive to go anywhere outside of the state. You can't just hop in a car and go drive across state.
When we transition to billions of listeners, we'll just relocate the podcast to Hawaii, because then we won't care about expenses.
Yeah. Then we'll be using our Patreon expenses to pay for that kind of shit. Dev and Kyle start their own island.
That'll be the new show.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
I like it. We'll have our own little resort.
It'll be perfect. I can't wait. So American Thanksgiving is our main holiday. It's the only day. It's the only time in America where the public holiday is actually 2 consecutive days. So even Christmas, the public holiday is just the one day, and we don't have an official recognition of Boxing Day for those of you Europeans who are familiar with that scenario. And we don't have Christmas Eve is not usually an official public holiday. So I think on the official federal rolls, it's the only bank holiday that lasts 2 full days in a row. And so it's the most.
Does? I didn't know it was lasted officially as a federal holiday for 2 days. I thought it was just Thursday was the official day.
I assume, but I have never checked. I don't Google anything. I'm famous for that on this show.
Pretty sure it's not.
Everywhere I've ever worked, I got holiday pay on Thanksgiving Friday. And I don't think that people would do that if they didn't have to.
I think it's more of since it's a given, we're always going to be off this Thursday. A lot of people aren't going to show up the next day, or they're going to call in. So let's just go ahead and give it to them anyway. And it's kind of cruel to go, yeah, every year you're going to get this Thursday off, but then we're going to make you work the next day. And then you're going to get 2 days off for a traditional work week schedule. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't work traditional work weeks. There's some people that are who gives a crap? There are people that still have to work on Thanksgiving. So
I think we should close the whole country, because I used to work grocery, and I would work Thanksgiving morning. They would have me come in because our store was open on Thanksgiving, and the grocery store, I banned my family. If we forgot something and we don't have it on Thanksgiving, my family is banned from going to get it, because I was so traumatized from working in a grocery store on Thursday Thanksgiving morning for people who just forgot the cloves, because they'll fight a motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
And it's not, I'm not even talking about Black Friday, because Black Friday, I was thinking about this. Maybe I didn't get overtime. Maybe I got combat pay for being there Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. But I'm talking about being in a grocery store where there are not good deals. You're not trampling another human being to get a $50 television.
No.
I'm talking about regular priced breadcrumbs that your family forgot to purchase when they went shopping on Thanksgiving Tuesday before the big holiday.
You're supposed to get all that shit.
When you're supposed to get all that shit. Oh, we forgot the breadcrumbs. It's okay, honey. I'll just run out and get it. The football game hasn't started yet.
No, you won't.
That person gets in the car, drives to the grocery store, and walks in the door. And not everyone. Some people are perfectly nice, but some of them make up for the people who are being perfectly nice for no reason whatsoever. And it's no good. So my family's banned. So if you ever come over to my house for Thanksgiving and you say, oh, I forgot the breadcrumbs, I'll tie you to the chair. You're not allowed to go get them. Or just don't come back to my Thanksgiving, because we don't shop on big holidays, because I think the stores should be closed. And I've heard that lots of stores are closing now.
Yeah.
Which is great. And I hope that you're wrong, because you said that Combat Friday is coming back this year because COVID's over.
Oh yeah. It'll be back. Especially, well, I don't know if it's going to be back like it normally is, but it's going to be back to in some capacity. We've been without it for 2 years, and I'm already seeing Black Friday stuff that was starting the week before Halloween.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an unprecedented year in terms of Black Friday sales and just the overall economy. They are pushing, let's move inventory, because there's been so much inventory that's just been sat on for the past year that didn't get moved, that has been sitting in ports that couldn't get to a retailer, or sitting at a retailer in a warehouse that just can't get out because of whatever logistical issues, or people just weren't buying, period. So now it's like, all right, here's all this stuff that's 70% off that's normally never on sale. And I'm getting emails left and right about it. I know I'm going to start seeing emails about brick and mortar Black Friday deals here in the next couple of days, because I haven't seen any of those yet. But I'm already getting lambasted with discount here, discount there for Black Friday, prepping out online, at least.
That's true. That's what I was hoping that the spread out nature of all of these deals and these online deals would prevent the human tragedy of the famous Black Fridays that crept up in the mid to whatever that was, the 2000s. When were we killing people? Like, when was peak Black Friday? Like 2012, 2013?
I would say peak Black Friday, it had like a 2-decade run.
It had like a good run, but it
late 90s.
Late 90s is when it sort of kicked off.
Started. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just started ramping up and got, every year it just got more and more vicious. I think it kind of plateaued middle of the teens, like 2013, 14.
I feel like the ascendance of Amazon sort of maps with the reduction in deaths.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's still...
Finally, one good thing that we can say about Bezos is that, Amazon saves lives, but only one day a year. They make up for it by working people to death 364 days a year, but they save the lives of civilians one day a year.
They've increased the death count, though.
Increased net deaths.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Jeff, if you still want to sponsor the show, I heard you're giving a lot of your money to charity. devnkylesta@gmail.com. Hit us up, buddy.
We'll put it to great use. We'll be very, very good full-on rapists. I mean, philanthropists.
Wow. That's the opinions of Dev are in no way associated with Dev and Kyle Start the Apocalypse.
Sorry. I have way too much It's Always Sunny little tidbits that just kind of come out. It's like a Tourette's thing.
Still haven't seen it. Still don't have time.
You can make time. You can carve out 20 minutes for a little quick review of
20 minutes for a quick review of 20 seasons of a show.
You don't sit down. You don't have to watch it all. Just because the societal expectation of binging is literally sitting your ass down and watching an entire season in a day, you don't have to. You can just watch, an episode here or there, and you'll like it.
I think you don't. I guarantee you that I will like it. Lots of people whose senses of opinion or senses of humor that I trust, they say it's good, which is fine. But you don't have to watch it all. Has to be the most glowing opinion of a review of anything that I've ever heard of in my life.
It's one of those series where, there's callbacks and there's things that build upon each other, but you could just pick a random episode and watch it and be just as entertained as another random one. There are a few that are like, all right, if you pick that one as a random one, you might miss a few jokes that are really, really funny because you didn't have the context to it. But for the most part, it's just these horrendous people in Philadelphia that own a bar and somehow make money when there's never any freaking patrons there.
Isn't that being redundant? Horrible people in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry to all of Philadelphia except for Devin Kyle's head designer. That's what all our Philly jokes are for.
Philly fans it's the Philly fans that are the problem. It's not the citizens of Philadelphia so much as the Philly sports fans that are the problem.
I think if Amanda is still listening, it's every single person in Philadelphia. And then Amanda, skip forward 30 seconds. I think there's no problem with Philadelphia. I love that city. It's fine. Everybody's great. But yeah, I've said welcome back, Amanda. I fucking said that out loud.
That is definitely getting cut. There's just going to be this big gap. And we're going to come back in and just, we love big gaps. Cannot lie.
Speaking of big gaps, you're going to eat some Thanksgiving food this year.
Maybe. That's the thing. I might not. I'm not going to have a traditional Thanksgiving this year.
Oh, me neither. This is going to be our first non-traditional Thanksgiving, which is making me very homesick because I love a traditional Thanksgiving. You're not sold on traditional Thanksgiving. What's wrong with it?
I love the getting together aspect with my family. It's not so much the food. I could take it or leave it. I would rather have totally different food than what we have on Thanksgiving dinner.
Maybe we could trade families because it's the food part that I enjoy.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad food. If my grandma is the one that fixes it, it's always amazing. Clear your plate, lick it clean.
That's what grandma.
But I can only eat one plate because I eat so much on that one plate. I just grab everything while it's hot and fresh because I don't want to get back up and get seconds. And I eat it and then I'm stuffed and I'm done and I'm worthless the rest of the day.
What do we call it? Non-conformist intermittent fasting. Does that affect your Thanksgiving proclivities?
That's another issue too.
But traditionally, for those of you unfamiliar with the American Thanksgiving holiday, Thanksgiving is the day in which Americans eat, in which we eat like people in the rest of the world believe that we eat every single day, based on the stereotype of Americans around the world, which I think is partly that's where Thanksgiving as sort of this unique holiday. That's what I was really thinking about, because Thanksgiving, all of the traditions of American Thanksgiving, like when I think about it, the whole thing is get together and eat. There's no additional traditions. Like when you think about other harvest festivals around the world, and I did do a little bit of research with this, and plus also talk to people who live in other countries, there's a lot of places that have like a harvest festival, like a Dia de los Muertos. We just had that there's a lot of, gathering and feasting and eating, but also there's ancestry and like grave cleaning. And some of my Korean friends said that they have very similar situations with I'm going to ruin this pronunciation, Chuseok. Anyway, that is a Korean, that's a Korean like harvest festival / ancestor honoring holiday. It's about to happen, or it just happened a little while ago. But my point in bringing up both of those is that they're a feast related holiday. American Christmas also, there's a feast related, but there's more than the feast in all those holidays. I think American Thanksgiving stands alone, where it's it. It's just the feast is the holiday. There's nothing else that you have to do traditionally.
Watch football. Traditionally, you have to watch football. At least in my house, you have to watch football. Period. And the Thanksgiving Day parade. You've got to watch the parade, and you got to watch football.
I am unaware of how to watch the parade now that I got rid of an antenna.
It streams for free.
Do they have it on Hulu? I know
ABC,
that a parade
NBC.
streams. Like that's how a parade works. It starts and then it streams down the street.
Yeah, it does. And they have streamers and balloons and parade floats. You goofball.
I finally told the joke that drove Dev beyond the pale. Finally did it this whole time. It took 12 episodes. First 11, he was appreciating it. I found the limit.
I finally gave you the response I give my wife when she says something facetiously that I'm like,
responses. I got burned by my oldest child the other day. So he's been listening to Jim Gaffigan, very funny comedian. I also like Pockets. Hot Pockets. I also like Jim Gaffigan because generally, like all the comedy is pretty clean. It gets a little dicey, but he's 11, my oldest child. So he's got the one earbud in his ear with his phone in his pocket, walking around. And I've been having a hard time getting his attention. Like even though he's got one ear open, he's just focusing entirely on this. Okay. So I've just finished like, hey, dude, like I'm trying to talk to you. Like I need your attention. And then I made some punny joke and he laughed as he's walking away. And then he turns around and he looks me dead in the eye with the eyes of a murderer. And he takes the earbud out of his ear and goes, sorry, did you say something? I was laughing at my podcast.
Oh.
And I looked at him, and then he held it for just one moment, and then he broke into a big grin. I was just kidding.
Well played. The student has become the master.
I mean, it was knife strike to the liver. It was no good.
Yeah, I've gotten some similar ones, but nothing that burning yet. Not nothing that burning yet. Some that I'm just like, oh, he's starting to come back with stuff. This is I'm like, do you do this with everybody else too, or am I the only one that it's just you?
Yeah, that's just the love.
Okay.
That's just the love.
Yeah, I will say they went to Target yesterday and they came home with a onesie for the Munchkin that said, I love dad jokes. Okay. You all at least are giving me some kind of
something.
Yeah. You're giving some prudence that I have some good jokes, evidently, or you wouldn't. It's like, no, it's more of like a poking fun at you that, haha, we love dad jokes, air quotes. And I'm like, oh, screw you both.
Because she laughs at her own reflection still. So that's where they believe your level of humor.
Exactly. They're like, you can make her laugh, but she laughs at she hears her own fart and thinks it's hilarious.
More jokes for the audience, I say. We won't waste them on our families anymore. We'll just tell them to the audience.
Exactly. Screw you, family. I
so
love
you
you.
Don't like the food unless your grandma makes it?
Even then, it's just But I'm a picky eater. I live off of pizza and chicken. So sure. Turkey's really not my thing.
Turkey's close to chicken.
Yeah, but it's bland. You got to cover it in gravy. And not that I have anything against that. I love gravy, but I just, I don't know. Just, it's not my thing. I think it's that I know that I can only eat what is being cooked at home that day, that I'm getting that. And that is it, because everything else is closed. Although there's some places that are starting to open up for restaurants or open up for dinner, because they know there's a lot of people that either A, don't want to cook, or B, don't have family or anything. So it's like, hey, we're missing out on an opportunity to make a lot of money. Yeah. Let's do it.
The carry out Thanksgiving dinner, the takeaway Thanksgiving dinner, if we want to say, for our international audience who's come to hear all about American Thanksgiving from two experts.
I'm not an expert.
I have eaten at least one Thanksgiving meal per year my entire life.
Yeah.
I'm an expert.
38 years of Thanksgiving dinners. And this is going to be the first non-traditional without the turkey. Well, I don't know. We might still have it, but I was asked, what do you want to have for dinner on Thanksgiving from my wife's friend that we're going up to? And I was like, I want pizza from their little wood fire grill outside on the deck.
Oh, okay.
That's what I want.
I thought you were going to be ordering pizza. No. A homemade pizza? That's fine. You can cook whatever you want for Thanksgiving. There's the traditional foods, but no one should feel compelled. You shouldn't eat Thanksgiving foods because that's what you're supposed to do. And you shouldn't hang out with people because that's what you're supposed to do. Because like I said, there's no tradition. You don't have to do anything on American Thanksgiving. That's what's so great about it. All you have to do is eat. And if you eat way too much food, you have successfully participated in American Thanksgiving. That's it. You could do it from anywhere, and you could do it with any food. But if you don't feel like you should have worn sweatpants, that's the only way in which you did American Thanksgiving wrong.
Yeah. Eat until you're bloated. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to be on both sides of the fence with this one. You should. I feel compelled at least to eat traditional Thanksgiving food on Thanksgiving. It feels weird that I'm going in knowing I'm pretty 99% sure I'm not going to be eating a traditional Thanksgiving meal on Thanksgiving. I might be completely wrong. I might show up and they go, oh yeah, we did turkey and mashed potatoes and macaroni and cheese and casserole and green beans and da-da-da-da-da and stuffing. But I'm hoping, since I was asked, that I show up and they go, all right, let's make some pizzas. And I'll be like, fuck yeah. But in my heart, tradition, like getting together with the family and having the same friggin' meal, maybe something slightly different, but the staples, the turkey, the mashed taters and all that it doesn't feel like Thanksgiving without it to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I happen to enjoy most of those foods. And I'm lucky that, like you said, when your grandma makes it, it comes out right. I'm lucky that when my wife makes it, it comes out right. And so I'll get traditional Thanksgivings for as long as I can convince her to stick around. But it could go at any time. Let's be honest.
I was trying not to laugh too hard.
Yeah, I know, right? Never mind any of that. Have you ever tried deep frying a turkey? Let's bring it back. I want to save turkey for you.
I have not done it myself. I've had it. I've had other people do it, but I've never been the one that's gone out and taken a turkey and deep fried it. I want to. I like deep frying stuff, and deep frying something that big on that large of a scale. Like, I want to go out and get a keg and cut the top off and then get a little burner and throw it on there, put peanut oil in there and deep fry that bad boy.
It's great. And as we all know, deep frying, quintessential American cooking style, right?
Oh, yes.
County fairs all over this nation are deep frying the undeep friable. Snickers bars and Coca-Cola, and that's a real thing, deep fried Coca-Cola, for those of you who think I'm joking.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you never seen deep fried Coca-Cola?
Deep fried bottles of Coca-Cola. You take the bottle and you deep fry it. Or do you take the Coca-Cola and you use the Coca-Cola as like the frying oil, which I don't know how that would even work, because
neither of those. Neither of those. You just add a significant amount of Coca-Cola to the batter. So then you just essentially get like fried, like crispy outside, sort of gooey interior with a significant Coca-Cola flavor. It's like
that sounds
because
weird.
It is weird. Listen, it is weird. I already said, I opened this by saying it's a weird deep fried food at a county fair. So I'm not defending it. This is America for you. What's the Japanese frying method? What do they call that?
I don't know. Japanese frying method? Like,
yeah, come on. You put
no.
Everyone's shouting at their phones right now because I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, I'm completely lost. I'm like, tempura?
Tempura. That's exactly what I was trying to think of. Thank you for coming up with that from no source whatsoever. So tempura, when you make tempura, you use sparkling water sometimes. And that makes, like, it adds air to the batter. And yeah, keep Googling it to try and prove that I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. Use sparkling water.
Now I got to see this.
Tempura. And there's just, like, instead of having to whip it so much, like, it just makes the batter lighter. And so then that also happens with the Coca-Cola. So you add Coca-Cola, and so you get the lighter batter, and also you get Coca-Cola flavoring. And so now you just have batter that's really just been made with Coca-Cola, tastes like Coca-Cola, and you deep fry that batter, and then you put it into a little cup and you sell deep fried Coca-Cola.
So it's basically Coca-Cola tempura.
Yeah, I would imagine. I've never been a professional deep fried Coca-Cola salesman, but I'm just guessing that's the recipe.
I am shocked and somewhat insulted that deep fried Coca-Cola was not at the Kentucky State Fair.
Yeah.
If it was, then I didn't see it. Because if I saw deep fried Coca-Cola, I'd have been like, oh shit, hold my beer. I'm getting some of this.
Yeah. Well, is Kentucky like weird that where you'd have like deep fried RC Cola? Like you're not a Coca-Cola state?
Yeah, we're a Coca-Cola state.
Are you one of those states where people say, hey, I'd like to get a Coke, and then they say what flavor?
No, like you say, hey, I want a Coke, and they'll go, is Pepsi okay? And you look at them like, did I say Pepsi?
Yeah.
That's the kind of state we are. I hear we're such a mishmash, an amalgamation of what verbiage you use for the fizzy flavored drink, Coke, soda, pop.
Are you soda or are you pop?
I'm call it a Coke, call it a whatever it is. Call it by its name.
Call by
your name.
But if you were callback.
That was my little Nas X impersonation there.
If you were forced to generically refer to it, what word would you use? If there was a mixed assortment,
I guess I'd say soda.
You'd say soda, okay?
Because it says soda at the grocery store and at the gas station.
Because you've seen those big maps of like separating out America, like soda and pop and soda pop. And then there are some regions of the United States that call it generically a Coke. And then you have to specify what flavor of Coke you want. And you might get a Sprite when you ask for a Coke.
Yeah. There are parts of North Carolina that are like that. You say, I'll take a Coke. And they're like, what kind? I'm like, I said I wanted a Coke. Oh, you want an actual Coke?
Colombian kind.
Yes, I said I want the kind that I could chop up on the table, not the kind
the bear loves.
Yeah. The kind that Pablo Escobear loves. The kind that you can use a straw with for your nose and not your mouth.
So I deep fry a turkey, which I think makes it even more American.
It is.
I'm a big fan of it. Here's the other great part about deep frying a turkey, and this goes back to why maybe I might not get my wife's participation in all my Thanksgivings for the rest of my days. I use it as an excuse, and she doesn't listen to the show, so she'll never know. I use it as she knows. I use it as an excuse to go outside and have that be my job, because deep frying a turkey. Everybody's seen the YouTube fireball videos. You can very easily avoid the actual danger of fireballs by just simply not having any ice in your turkey. You get all of those deep fried, and I'll put a link in the show notes for anybody who's never heard of a deep fried fireball. Those only happen when you use a fully frozen turkey.
Like an idiot.
So I have a fully thawed turkey. I don't even buy it frozen. I buy it refrigerated.
There you go.
And I get the big pot of boiling water and I drop it in. But it is still like 4.5 gallons of 400-degree boiling peanut oil in a bin. So the dog and the kids shouldn't be anywhere near it. And I bring my fire extinguisher out. And in 10 plus years of deep frying my own turkey, never even pulled the pin on the fire extinguisher, never had a problem. I can tell the story. Yeah, no knock on wood this year because I'm not going to get to do it this year because we'll be on vacation. But the reason why I love that job is because I get to go outside and then I set up everything and I set up a perimeter and I lock out the kids and they're not allowed inside the perimeter of the deep fry. And then since I'm going to be stuck out here and I can't leave deep frying turkey unattended, then I light a cigar and I just sit outside and relax and watch the turkey deep fry itself for 90 minutes. And if my wife asks me to do anything, I just say like, oh, sorry, I can't leave the turkey fryer unattended. Yeah. So that's really why maybe that enhances the flavor for me is because I know that I worked so hard to get out of other work.
Something to do with it's like that, like a pat on the back in your mouth.
Mm-hmm. But other people who are there, they also say that the deep fried turkey is very good.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't have to cook it for 7 hours in your oven. You get your oven back for the other foods.
Yeah. You don't have to make room and like, oh, all right, we got to cook this, but we have to do all the math and the physics and thermodynamics of putting this dish under the turkey or this dish above the turkey while we're cooking the turkey and having everything come out at the same time. Or you got to be wealthy enough to have 2 ovens.
2 ovens. We don't have the 2 ovens. My wife is probably on the verge of moving to a Gantt chart for oven planning. Like a true project manager. She loves the organization and she would definitely plan it out. She has it she cooks it by feel.
Yeah.
She's got a good sense of a kitchen. So she's all right there. But what is your favorite traditional food?
Mashed potatoes.
That's the go-to. That's the one.
That's my favorite is my grandma's mashed potatoes, which are more like cream potatoes, I guess, because she uses the hand blender and gets them nice and whipped.
Oh,
I don't know. Would they be considered whipped potatoes, mashed, or creamed? Because she adds whole milk in there, butter, and then uses the blender to where it's like whipped and fluffy, but there's still maybe a little bit of tiny mashed bits in there here and there, but 99% is nice and fluffy and whipped. So I guess
smooth, just nice and smooth.
Whipped potatoes, I guess, would be the correct terminology.
What does your grandma call them? Mashed
potatoes.
That's what they're called then.
Because she mashes, takes the hand blender, mashes up and down while she's going around a circle. So it's mashed potatoes.
Yeah, it's whatever she wants to call them. She's the one making them. She's the one making them perfect. She could call them John Legend for all I care. That's whatever she wants to call them. That's what they're called. That's what you get. That's what you get for discovering something. It's what you get for making something. You get to name it. That's just traditional science. That's how the world works.
I got to call my grandma's mashed potatoes John Legend from now on. Give me some of that John Legend. I want a second helping of John Legend.
Well, I mean,
I love when John Legend's steaming on my plate.
You could eat chicken wings off the ass of those hot potatoes. I guess it was the mashed potatoes doing the chicken wing eating in that analogy. So,
yeah.
Do you do it with the gravy, or did the potatoes with the cream and the potatoes do it enough?
I mean, just the mashed potato with the butter is enough, but you put a little gravy on there and it takes it up a notch. I love it just plain. It took me until I was in my 20s before I actually found the love of gravy. So that long of eating it with just butter, salt, pepper, butter.
What do you not like about gravy? Like even biscuits, it's different gravy, but even biscuits and gravy?
Yeah, I like gravy when I was a little kid until I was about 4 or 5, I guess. And then I went into this weird taste bud change and did not like the texture of stuff or the flavor or the smell or the way things would look. Yeah, I became a super picky eater.
But now you're better, and so you only eat hot wings and pizza.
I just changed. I kind of took my focus and I've just moved the barrel to a different target.
I don't understand how your taste buds can still give you any feedback. Like it just feels like an old rocker who's just been at a Megadeth concert every single weekend for 42 years with the amount of stress and capsaicin that you put your taste buds into. Like, how do they even know the subtle differences between gravy and potato?
My tongue is the Keith Richards of tongues.
Finish that sentence. Okay.
My tongue is the Keith Richards of tongues. It has gone through and seen some shit, and it is still kicking. And you are making the face like I just got a soundbite out of that.
Absolutely, I did. It's solid gold. Solid gold. So that'll be a revisit.
It's not the Gene Simmons of tongues. I mean, I got a long tongue like Gene Simmons, but I have the Keith Richards of tongues because it takes a licking and it keeps on ticking. And I can still taste subtleties and little nuances and flavor of things, especially when it comes to hot stuff. Like I can taste the differences in peppers ever so slightly in certain sauces. Like, okay, I can get more cayenne out of this, or, oh, there's some definite jalapeno coming up in there, or whatever.
I went to a Thai restaurant this last weekend. I thought of you.
Dude, wouldn't that be a Thai shop or like a suit shop?
No, I went to the suit shop for Halloween. This was a Thai restaurant from Thailand. But I thought of you when the lady said, how spicy would you want it? And I almost said 3. And then I said, oh, no, 2. And then the 2 was perfect. I would not have wanted the 3.
I would have said 5. And then when she would have looked at me and said, are you sure? I'd have said, did I stutter? Make it hotter than that. Whatever your 5 is, make it like a 6 or 7.
Good Lord.
Are we on the same page here? Yeah? Okay,
no,
cool.
Thank you. No, thank you.
I do that at the Indian restaurants, and I've gotten some weird looks at a couple around here.
Because you're asking someone. It's not a lot of times you have someone just say like, yeah, please kill me. It's a strange request.
See? Yeah. I know your 5 is super hot and spicy to most people, but no, I want it above that.
My favorite Thanksgiving food that I don't make, because the deep fried turkey's up there, is my wife will make a Brussels sprout dish, and it's got bacon and onions in it. So she cuts all the Brussels sprouts in half, and they go face down in a cast iron pan. And then maybe the bacon goes in first. So she cubes up bacon. Because remember, I'm outside having a cigar and a relaxing day, so I don't actually see what happens. I just see the magic at the end. I think the bacon goes in first because the bacon grease is an integral part of it. So the bacon goes in first, tiny little cubes, gives up a bunch of bacon grease. None of the bacon grease comes out of the cast iron pan. Then the Brussels sprouts go in face down. They've all been cut in half. They go in face down, and it's then left on the stove to like fry the face of the Brussels sprouts. And there are onions, and the cheese goes on last. So those get sprinkled in. And then it comes off the stove after that sort of front sear has been applied. Then it goes into the oven and bakes. Still, again, the bacon grease hasn't come out, nothing. So that the whole Brussels sprout gets cooked through with the roasting.
Ooh.
So now you have these like very tender oven roasted Brussels sprouts, but they've been bacon seared on one side. And the onions are in there, and the bacon somehow ends up back in there. And then when it comes out, Parmesan cheese. The Parmesan cheese goes all over the top, and then you serve it with that. So the Parmesan is like sort of basically melting. That's my favorite. I'll cut any others, but that is the last dish. Like, in fact, we're going to be on the road. Well, I will probably still, because we're driving to our vacation, I'll probably pack the cast iron pan so that we can just buy some Brussels sprouts.
Like, oh, what's that?
Because we're staying in a Residence Inn, which is the type of hotel that has the full size oven.
Yeah.
So we might take a crack at a micro Thanksgiving.
That'd be interesting. Fun.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
It has the making of a Christmas Vacation style story. I'm going to throw it out there. I hope that if you attempt it, it goes swimmingly without a hitch, and it's perfect, and it makes a wonderful memory. But there's just something about you're packing the cast iron skillet. Mm-hmm. Are you telling your wife that you're packing the cast iron? Are you just going to pack it and be like, oh, what's this? We should go get some Brussels sprouts and onions and bacon and Parmesan cheese while we're here at the Residence Inn?
No, I'll get buy-in. I'll hold up the cast iron skillet and say, can we have one dish? And she'll say yes. That she likes that one as well. I don't know if it's her favorite of all of Thanksgiving, but that's, so I think I can get away with that one. Not get away with it. I think that I can ask and not have to beg to get that one dish made.
I was just imagining in my head you packing it secretively, pulling it out like, oh, Wednesday night. Then you guys go to the grocery to get everything. There's a comedy of errors at the grocery because it's Thanksgiving Eve and you're on vacation. So you don't know how this area works.
Nope.
And it's a completely different world from little old Arizona. So
little old Arizona.
Little old Arizona.
My city has like 7 million people in it, but I love how you call it little old Arizona.
Out there in Phoenix, where I
ride my horse to the grocery store and get some Brussels sprouts.
Yeah. And then it's a downhill from there. Shit goes awry when you get back to the Residence Inn while making it. I'm hoping it doesn't, but if it does, I want the full story on air.
That's the great thing about this show is that the worst thing that ever happens in my life now is just content.
This is true. I haven't had any major bad. Well, I take that back. But when there's there not something major bad shit going on? But yeah, we got hit by COVID again.
A COVID again?
Yeah. Well, I didn't.
Damn.
We got hit by COVID again. So
that sucks. Was it just like regular, boring, run-of-the-mill COVID where everybody got it and then everybody got better? Or was there like a story?
Only one person in the whole house got it. And it wasn't me. And it wasn't the kiddos.
That just sounds like somebody wanted vacation and just kicked you out. It was like, oh, no, I got COVID. Stay out of the bedroom.
Oh, no.
Bring me food.
It was 3 days of taking at-home tests and going and getting the PCR test and getting the confirmation from that. And I was like, oh, yeah, you definitely got it. Running fever and sneezing and
man,
tested. All the other three of us tested every day. Never popped once. Made it through.
I think that's just the future, right? There's just going to be just COVID's here to stay forever. And it's just the other thing. You're either going to, people are always like, oh, I got the flu. And they don't take a test. They don't know. They're just a little bit sick. And so this will just be like the new, you'll just be able, it'll be like Coke versus Pepsi. Like, oh, what'd you get and not take a test? Oh, I got the COVID. Oh, I got the flu. And people will just decide what they have without the input of a doctor.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be here and you'll either get it or you won't get it. And that's just it. It's just going to become a normal disease now.
Basically. And as long as people continue to get vaccinated and we don't let it mutate into some super virus that ends up going, oh, remember when we had to lock down and everybody was bitching about it? We got to do that again.
God, I hope not.
We went backwards. We went backwards.
I can't.
Nobody
can't
learned.
handle it. It has to be, if it's not once in a lifetime, if it's not the fifth once in a lifetime thing that I've lived through, well, then I don't know what I would do. But speaking of Thanksgiving foods made me think of all the possible Thanksgiving foods to pick. And I remembered Old Rotten Potatoes, which I'm sure that our French listeners are angry.
Au gratin. Au gratin.
But it reminded me of the fact that when my oldest child just started learning to talk, he believed that they were called Old Rotten Potatoes.
Delicious. If that were the case, I would want to eat Old Rotten Potatoes all the time.
Yeah.
Quite delicious.
But he thought the name of them was Old Rotten Potatoes, and it was his favorite dish at the time. So he would, like, not just for Thanksgiving, but for almost every dinner. Can we have Old Rotten Potatoes?
Sure, kid.
My wife is a very good cook. I've covered that a bunch of times. And so I'm used to walking in and smelling something very good and thinking like, oh, what's that? And the other day, she wasn't home from work yet. And I walked into the kitchen and it smelled delicious. And I was like, what is that? Like, you kids aren't cooking, are you? Like, what is that smell? And they were making a stink bomb. And they had put, you know, they were kids like just doing their own home chemistry sets, making a potion or whatever. Yeah, they had put like a cup, I don't know how much garlic that they put in this stink bomb, but they had made like garlic and vinegar together and it had, you know, aerosolized. And so the entire kitchen just smelled like garlic.
And you're like, oh, that's delicious.
I was like, this is so good. And then I was so mad to find out that they had just made a mess. And I not only did I not get delicious food, I also had to clean before my wife got home because I had made the mistake of not watching them.
Yeah. Go from, we're having Italian to, we're having a cleanup session. Not what I was hoping for.
Ugh. Absolutely no good at all.
We try to contain the potion making to in the shower or the bathtub so that if it ends up anything mixed together that's going to smell nice and needs to be cleaned up, it's just a quick rinse down the sink.
Yes. I mean, that's the only problem with this working from home thing is that I'm here. And so if they start a fire or something, and the older that they get, right, they're 11, 8, and 6, they can be left to their own devices for an hour or two, usually.
Yeah.
And especially the problem comes in is when they were all working together on this project. Everyone was getting along. And so I was working and it was quiet. And so I didn't have anything to check on. And I just got up to get a refill on my drink. Oh, that smells. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I haven't heard from you in a while. I should have noticed that it had been 45 minutes of complete and total silence.
Yeah, because if there's one thing that a parent knows, is that silence is the scariest thing that there is.
Yeah.
It is the scariest thing that there is. Not hearing a scream, not hearing something go bam, absolute dead silence.
Dead silence.
Because that's usually predicating the scream or the bam, and then that's the bad times.
One time, again, my oldest, he was about, I'm going to guess like 24 months in this story. He got up from what he was doing, walked across the room, and I was sitting in the room watching him, and he got up and he sort of toddled over and I was watching him, and he went over into the kitchen and he picked up the step stool that my wife always has in the kitchen because she's significantly shorter than I am. And he was just walking back somewhere else And he just turned and looked at me with this shit-eating grin on his face like, no, it's fine, Dad. Don't ask any questions about why I'm carrying this step stool. And I had to go find out what bright idea had gotten into his head. Speaking of asking questions that people don't know the answer to.
Please laugh.
So a pirate walks into a bar.
Ouch.
He's got a steering wheel sticking out of the crotch of his pants. And the bartender takes a look at him. He's like, hey, do you know what's going on? You have a steering wheel in your pants. Aye, it's driving me nuts. Which, that's one of my favorite pirate. It's one of my favorite pirate jokes. There's a lot of good pirate jokes.
Did you hear about the two blonde pirates that walked into the bar?
No.
You would think one of them would have seen it.
You'd think. It's true. Speaking of what you would think, do you know a pirate's favorite letter?
R.
No, it's the C, Dev.
Oh.
Gotcha.
You did. I did not see that one coming.
Awesome. Love that.
Oh, it was beautiful. That was one of the best string of congruent dad jokes we've had on the show.
Oh, do you want more pirate jokes? Like a pirate's favorite socks?
One with a hole in it?
Argyle.
All right. Moving along.
That's a joke I know I could tell that puts an end to people wanting to hear more jokes.
Yeah. You want to hear more? Yeah, I would love to hear. Not anymore. Nope.
Here's another question that I wrote down that I don't know about you. And that's what this show is about. Thanksgiving is coming up. Traditionally, there's a lot of pies. So the first question is, what's the best Thanksgiving pie?
French silk.
False. It's pecan. Next question is, in a choice between cake or pie, do you choose cake or pie?
Cake.
Again, wrong. So I'm sorry, Dev, you have lost this round. You haven't won any prizes on this week's Is Dev Correct? You were so close. We had Miracle Whip, and we nailed it, but no.
Well, see, here's the thing. I do win because I get more cake and more French silk pie.
I guess that's true.
I don't have to fight for it.
That's true. You don't. I asked about the economics of getting wedding pie. That's how much more than cake I enjoy pie.
Wedding pie.
Yeah, I was just wanting to serve pie at my wedding because pie is superior to cake and it's my day and I wanted. But it turns out it's really hard, or not hard, but it's really expensive to make pie for 200 people as opposed to cake.
Pie is superior only for the fact that technically pizza is a pie. Yeah.
I know they call it pizza pie, but isn't like Chicago deep dish, which is the one that's called pie the most, I think.
That's even more like a pie.
I think that's a casserole.
Then, I mean, technically a pie is kind of a casserole.
I think you have to be like thick to be a casserole. So like New York style pizza is not a casserole.
And technically cheesecake is kind of a pie.
I think cheesecake is kind of a pie because cheesecake is the best kind of cake. And so there must be something about it that makes it close to pie, which is why I like it.
Now we're getting into the whole hot dog sandwich kind of debate. There's a crossover here with cheesecake.
There is. I think cheesecake is like a custard made in a pie form. But
you can have layers. Just like with a cake, like you can have layers, and you could have cake in there.
And this show. Many ways in which they're just the layers that keep going down.
Oh, I was going up. You're going down. I'm going up.
All of these are great.
Now I want cheesecake.
I do want cheesecake. Again, we had a morning record for me. I didn't have lunch before we did this. We talked about food the entire show, which, spoiler alert, don't listen to this episode hungry. Maybe I'll move that to the beginning of the show. That might have helped.
Trigger warning.
Trigger warning. Don't listen hungry to episode 12. I think I'll just leave that at the end of the show.
Or maybe listen hungry. If you're like me and indecisive about what to eat, maybe listen hungry. Maybe this will direct you into a certain place to eat. I don't know why I'm saying this now because you've already listened to it. So
yeah, what has this show made you want to go eat right now?
Cheesecake.
Cheesecake? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think that my son has some leftover ramen in the fridge. I think I'm going to microwave that because he told me I could have it. By the way, this is not. I'm not stealing from my children. He said, "You can have that ramen, Dad."
Is it stealing if it's food from your children in your house?
He would absolutely believe that it was outright thievery if I ate something from the leftovers that he keeps without his permission. He also...
I'm not condoning taking from your kids. I want to preface that to all the listeners. I'm not condoning.
Even under roommate law, he would be able to take me to The Hague.
Yeah, you're true. That's true. You got to look at it from that perspective. Like, kids are roommates that you've brought in.
Roommates that I made?
Yeah, you made them, but they're also kind of indentured servants to a degree, too.
That reminds me of a game that I used to play on Facebook, which was one of the only good parts of Facebook. So the game that I used to play is I would invite all of my friends of young children to play the drunk toddler game, which is where you tell a story about your toddler, but you replace the word toddler with drunk roommate when you tell the story. And it makes really good stories.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Just the past week, I can just random things that have happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell one. Go for it. I got some great ones.
my drunk roommate woke up at 4 a.m. 2 days ago, screaming her head off, just for no reason, and was inconsolable, just crying her eyes out. Wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't tell me what was going on.
Yep.
Just, that's my drunk roommate. Don't know what her problem was. Yeah.
Commonly what the drunk roommates do. Yeah, that's a great one.
Oh, and she pissed her pants too. That was the thing. My drunk roommate, while she's crying, she pissed her pants, and I thought she shit her pants, but she was just crying so much that she farted, and it smelled really bad. And then I gave her a bottle, thinking maybe like drinking some more.
Yeah, straight from the bottle. The drunk roommates are famous for.
She was so drunk, and out of it, she was just like, nah.
My drunk roommates scream in my face that their socks don't fit. My drunk roommate yesterday told me that she wasn't going to do her homework because she needed to go play. And I said, well, okay, fine. You can go play. And she screamed at me, why would she want to go play? There are no other drunken roommates outside. And I said, well, if you don't want to go play, you could do your homework. And she screamed, but I want to go play. And then repeat that
3 or 4 times.
For any members of they should put, that should just be a condom commercial. Seen some, I think they're like internet Danish condom commercials, but there should be just YouTube footage of people having a problem in a grocery store, and then it should just say Trojan.
I think we found, take that, but take it with the drunk roommate and have like the commercial is of a drunk roommate. So you think it's going to be like, don't like get help commercial or something for alcoholics, get into rehab. And at the end, it's a Trojan commercial. And then it shows.
It just pans back.
It pans back and it's them like holding the baby. Like,
yeah, just a toddler in the same outfit. Just cinematically show that it was indicated to be the same person. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. If you work in advertising, you need some commercial, or you're just Trojan and you want to advertise.
And sponsor.
Yeah.
Sponsor us, and we'll help be marketing too. It'll be like a little bit of, scratch our back, you scratch ours kind of thing.
We need a survey to find out if we have more dads commiserating in the audience or single dudes who listen to us as a cautionary tale.
But what about, we know that we have a female audience too.
Well, of course we do. But
or is this just like between the two of that part of the demographic?
I'm saying that traditionally people who wear condoms are referred to as men and fathers. So that's why I was just thinking of Trojan having a traditionally male audience. But I guess politically correct, it's Trojan's target demographic is the inseminators. I believe that's what we say, because not everyone who inseminates is a father.
This is true.
So certainly people who don't wear the condoms purchase the condoms, then they should. Good for them.
Right. Yes.
But they purchase them for the same reason. But I guess it wasn't just fathers and cautionary tales. I wonder how many parents listen to our show.
There we go.
And commiserate with us versus how many non-parents listen to us as a cautionary tale. So we'll have to find that out. So Trojan, if you want to sponsor that survey, hit us up, devnkylesta@gmail.com.
I'm waiting for my phone call. I'm looking. Call me, Trojan.
We'll go anytime you want to go. But all right. Well, I think it's been a show, Dev.
Yeah. It's been a show.
It's been a show.
It's been a foodie show.
Everybody who's listening to this, it has been just a few days ago, American Thanksgiving. So I hope that you ate until you were bloated, as is the tradition. And if you're just now hearing about American Thanksgiving and you didn't have a chance, just go eat till you're bloated, because we made you hungry talking about food on this show.
Yeah, go Google it. Do something Kyle won't do. Google
it. I find that I'm right enough without Google, and that's still my position to this day.
Well, you were wrong about Thanksgiving day after Black Friday being a federal holiday. It is not.
Really? Thanks for ending the show on a downer, Dev. You know what? That makes Thanksgiving even more American, that we have a traditional 2-day celebration of hanging out, and we don't even bother making it a 2-day federal holiday. We don't give people time off. That's so classically American that it wouldn't be Thanksgiving if we finally got around to giving the day off.
It'd be very European of us.
It would be very. We'd have to make Thanksgiving fully vegan, I think, is what they do in Europe.
We might actually have to be thankful.
I'm thankful. You know what I'm thankful for, Dev?
I'm thankful for you.
You beat me to it, buddy. I'm thankful for you. I've been Kyle.
I've been Dev.
And we
have
attempted
to
start
the apocalypse.
Goodbye.
Chop sandwiches.
Dev and Kyle Start the Apocalypse is brought to you every other week with a full archive available at devnkyle.com. The Apocalypse theme and other music in the show is written and performed by Chase Noseworthy. He's Chase Noseworthy on YouTube or at NoseworthyChase on Twitter. All graphic design for Dev and Kyle Start the Apocalypse has been created by Dead Vision. Find her work on Twitter and Insta at XDADOTTER and book her immense talents at XDADOTTER.com. Audio engineering provided by Cassandra Umsong. She can make you sound even better than Dev and Kyle because you'll provide much better raw materials. Get in touch with her on Twitter at Coffee with Coom. That's coffee with COUM. Dev and Kyle support artists and creatives of all types. Exposure is for film. Artists need compensation. If you're interested in becoming an apocalypto to help keep supporting all of the artists who make Dev and Kyle sound passably professional, please consider becoming a sustaining patron at patreon.com/devandkyle. Show notes, transcripts, and any other information from this episode should be available at devandkyle.com if Dev and or Kyle did their job. Fingers crossed. Finally, deeply and sincerely, Dev and Kyle think that you are a wonderful person who deserves love and compassion. We hope our small gift of what we consider interesting or entertaining has made your day even the tiniest bit better. Thank you for liking or subscribing in your favorite podcast app. And if you think others may want to know about this show, consider leaving a review in that same podcast app. It really helps us spread the word. Thank you.